Hey.
Hey there, Drac. How you doing, partner?
Oh man, doing good. Feels good to be back.
Hey, you're looking sharp, dude. You're looking sharp and fresh.
Gotta stay fresh, man. You went to one side of the planet. I was on the other side of the planet. We both came back sick.
That's true. Hold up, what the fuck you did, dude? Where were you at, dude? I was in Vienna. Vienna.
Yeah, you were in Vienna. I was supposed to be in Vienna. I had to make a last minute detour to Las Vegas, unfortunately.
Oh.
So very sad.
That's like a crypto capital. That's one of the crypto capitals of the world. I feel like Las Vegas. You know?
Yeah. There was some crypto stuff. I had some crypto things going on out there, but sad to miss the summit. Looked like everyone had a great time. Looked like you were doing a great job hosting the show.
Some of us had a little too good of a time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I heard you were out there with the Brits having a hard time.
I was hanging out with the Brits. And not just the Brits. It was a very multicultural affair. We had representatives from all across the EU. We had Germany there. We had Finland. We had Sweden. But one thing they all had in common is they love to give me free drinks to, I guess, take advantage of me. I don't know where this is going, but I was tore up, dude. But yeah, it was a great time. And you know what? The summit was fantastic, dude. It was a knockout, dude. The venue was incredible. I'm sorry you missed it. It was a beautiful.
The venues and everything looked crazy, man. Just like having like these like historic buildings and everything.
I unfortunately missed the first day because of my hellish adventure to arrive at the summit. My experience getting to the summit was nightmarish, but I missed the first day because of travel. But the first venue looked incredible. That was like an actual museum, I believe, that was closed. Like so the exhibits were out. But the second one was nice and like curated, dude.
Yeah.
We were hosted in this like private room. There were beanbag chairs, big chairs, and we got to get some incredible presentations, dude. I heard some stuff you wouldn't believe, dude. I heard some stuff I couldn't even explain. Okay, Dr. Bernard Schultz and his geniuses up there were speaking Greek to me, but I can tell you this. They said something like 2 billion transactions a day is what Visa does, right? And they were like, we can probably do with this new infrastructure that they've got designed, ready to build out, push out, 5 bill, 2.5 times. And that's what I remember. I could be off. It could be more. And then on top of that, dude, there was something else. We know something we always used to talk about. I know I'm maybe getting ahead of myself. I'm just so excited to talk about the summit. You know about Sodax?
Yeah, so that's like a former L1 that is moving to he's streaming from heaven. Basically former L1, and they are moving to Sonic, but I'm not sure like the details quite yet, right?
Yeah, so I talked to them for a little bit, in the green room before announcing them on stage. There's like so much exciting stuff to talk about from this stuff, but this was one that struck me as particularly exciting. Was Sodax is kind of like an older team. They've been around for a while. It's kind of this old one, but now they're coming to Sonic. But you know how I always joke, like we should create like a project, right, that exists on other chains, and then when you use it, it just routes your transaction through Sonic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in some ways,
dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like a super interesting, I was surprised to hear that news, but that's very cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the big things were happening at the summit, man. Huge success. If you couldn't make it, check out the content. I'm sure it's going to be coming out nonstop about it. The recaps and the updates and the like.
Yeah. I mean, I know that they're going to, I guess, release a lot of the presentations and stuff. I guess they're just kind of like getting, edited or whatever. So I think we'll be able to watch a lot of that stuff.
I could front run the market right now. Some of the info like that.
Yeah, that's right. So but I guess from what I saw, they're talking about doing something similar in Singapore at the end of the year. So if you're on that side of the world, you should consider going. It looks like everything was a success. I know everyone that was there had a good time. So yeah, no, but that's awesome you made it, man. Yeah, I've considering you made it back in one piece.
I made it back richer than ever. I made friends. I made memories. I lost 5-10 pounds. I'm ascended. I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, man.
Can't wait for Sunday.
And then like furthermore, we're the market's like we're having a good like few days in the market.
We defied the conference dump, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean,
it's different than a conference, so
yeah, it must be the summit saving the market. Bitcoin trying to make a new all-time high. We're almost there. I got a feeling that might happen by the end of the week. I guess we'll see what happens. But also on top of like a little market surge, some good macro news. They just said like, I guess this was like, couple hours ago that the CPI came in, which, they base a lot of these, the Fed rates on the CPI. The CPI came in the lowest it's been since February of 2021. So good news. I don't think they decide on the rates quite yet, but that combined with they've, kind of worked out some stuff with China. Obviously China has been like the biggest point of contention, I would say, with all of this tariff stuff. They were having a little tariff slap fight.
mm-hmm.
They're like, well, I'm putting on another 50%. Well, I'm putting on another 50%. So they've agreed to some kind of like truce at the moment. I think it's just like kind of like back to baseline for both sides.
Bro, this is crazy. It says in reaching an agreement, the United States and China will each lower tariffs by 115% while retaining an additional 10% tariff. That's massive.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they were just getting ridiculous there for a minute. I mean, just like, oh, well, now it's 140. Well, now it's 150. Like it was like, when is it going to end?
Yeah, this is it. I wanted to show this too. This was interesting to me because the Chinese thing was the Chinese argument was like the most, I guess, important one, the one people were most focused on. But it seems like Trump is saying something here. Europe is nastier than China, and I got to say, I agree from my personal experience. But I think it's obviously extremely bullish for China and the U.S. to achieve some kind of, I want to say equanimity, but that's not the right word. Agreement. We've achieved agreement, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the tariff stuff, the market was having bad enough reactions to. But obviously, when them and China really started going at it, I think that was probably the worst of it because it's not like really any secret that, China manufactures goods for pretty much everywhere on the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to put your highest tariff on what's probably, I don't have the list of the biggest countries in terms of like, what percent of their goods get, imported to the US, but China has to be up there. If not the biggest. So yeah, I think that was bullish, to get some news there. Bullish CPI. We were already having a little bit of a pump. So I feel like we're kind of primed to hopefully keep this going. You were saying before the show, it's kind of like an inflection point right now. It feels like,
yeah,
because we have the opportunity, everything's kind of lining up that we have the opportunity to have a little market rip here. The question is it going to happen or not? I think we got to ride through this week a little longer to find out.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, only time, of course, only time will tell, right? But this is like we're building that pressure underneath 60, right? And it's like, what's going to blow up first, the floor or the ceiling?
Yeah, exactly.
I think of this as like an inflection point because, I guess narratively wise, like what we've been experiencing, right? Since inauguration, it's been kind of like battering down, right?
Yeah.
Now it seems like the waters are starting to kind of calm a little bit in that we're achieving some we're getting agreements with China. We're calling Europeans nasty. You know, things are progressing a little bit. So we're going to see if this momentum is still there to push upwards.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like this too. Like, you know, if you want to look back here, we kind of had the exact same little wind up tight range here. Unfortunately, we blasted down from there. So the hope would be that we're winding up to blast up and not down this time. And I think that, you know, market conditions right now, it's looking like we could go that way.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it looks like we could go that way. I also think just because a lot of the value I think that was pulled out wasn't necessarily pulled out out of need. It was more out of fear. And now that people are feeling more confident and we're starting to see like, oh, the world isn't ending. Because, you know, you had guys like Adam Cochran saying like, dude, in fucking June, you're going to be eating shoes. You're going to be eating rats. And
Yeah.
what we're realizing is that's literally not going to happen, right? Americans are still going to have $20, $50 to throw into crypto. You know, guys, it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Not saying they bid it all right now, okay? But the Corval Index says hopeful to positive.
Hopeful to positive. Yeah, I mean, looking at Bitcoin, you know, the Bitcoin weekly, definitely looking very strong. You know, we're just butting up against the last Bitcoin all-time high. I'm thinking we're looking pretty primed to, you know, I don't know if we go much higher than an all-time high right now. Like maybe we just barely break it. But we will see. I mean, you know, it's kind of like as soon as we busted over 90 and kind of like held, bulls kind of get back in control, which is what you want to see. So yeah, now that we're like on the way, you know, to all-time high, I don't see how you stop the bulls from at least tapping 115, 120, something like that. That's the hope, at least.
Bulls, prove Dracula wrong. Much higher, dude. Send it to 250.
Yeah, let's go way higher. But I would speculate that we probably tap some kind of new all-time high and either get maybe slapped down or go sideways a bit. But yeah, if you guys just want to go ahead and run this thing up to 200, that'd be very nice. I'd say go for it.
I think it's the move. I think it's what America needs. I think it's what the world needs right now. Is Bitcoin to 2 milli, and Sonic to 200. Why not?
Yeah, Sonic $200. That sounds reasonable to me. So sitting here at below 60 cents, I don't see why not.
Yeah. Oh wait.
But yeah, it's kind of a weird feeling, you know, not to have. There's not all doom and gloom, you know, today. So it's the market's, I think, pretty hopeful at the moment.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about some more positivity here in terms of I guess legal stuff before we get even more Sonic specific here? We have that SEC chair Paul Atkins saying his priority is to develop a rational regulatory framework for crypto. It's like a 30-second clip.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Watch it. All right, let's do this here. All right. Is this working? Is this visible for everybody?
Not on the screen yet. There we go.
A key priority of my chairmanship will be to develop a rational regulatory framework for crypto asset markets that establishes clear rules of the road for issuance, custody, and trading of crypto assets, while continuing to discourage bad actors from violating the law. Clear rules of the road are necessary for investor protection against fraud, not the least to help them identify scams that do not comport with the law. It's a key priority of my chairmanship will be.
Okay, dude is committed to holding up the law. That was a great clip. Thank you.
Watcher Guru.
God. Learn how to make content, dude. There was not even. I did the sound effects in there. Add more sound effects next time.
Yeah, for real. Make that thing lively. But no, I mean, I think it's, you know, it's funny how fast and easy this is if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
You know, Gary Gensler, however many years, everyone's just begging, just just set a rule, just set one rule, just make a single rule. And so I think that's very bullish to have someone come out and say, we are like setting the framework, we're setting the rules. Hearing, it's kind of like a funny thing in crypto to be like, oh, I'm excited that someone's making rules. But I think that ultimately it helps the US, whether you're, investing in, there's like, for instance, it helps people that want to make companies and startups in the US because they're removing some of that fear that people have, which is like, I don't want to base my company in the US because who knows when I'm just going to get a notice about something I think I'm following the rules and I don't know. But also even just like bigger investors and traders and that kind of stuff. There's plenty of people that are like, I don't really want to like get involved. I don't really want to have like all this money involved when it's so like nebulous. You know what I mean? So as crazy as it sounds to be like, yay, rules. I still think it's, it's bullish for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's still fairly like non-committal. He probably doesn't know. He probably doesn't have any idea what rule he's going to come up with. But judging by like who's in the White House right now and what his activities on chain have been the last 6 months, it's hard to imagine that this would not be fairly generous, right? So I'm excited. I'm excited for this regulatory clarity. As nerdy as that sounds.
Yeah, I think clarity is a good word for it.
Yeah. More so, what's that thing that they used to do? It's like racial, where they would make like a law like really ambiguous just so they could just like arrest you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's exactly what was happening. I mean, it was like nobody knew when or if they were going to get a notice, like nobody, because it was like, what are the rules? Like, what rule am I breaking? And they were using these like, rules that were set up in like the 20s and the 30s to, send people notices and stuff. And like, I mean, talk about the Wild West. I mean, that's really crazier to me if you think about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that should be criminal.
It's crazy that they have all these laws that they use to catch like Al Capone and stuff, but like that they used to enforce this stuff for a while. But like the main criminals that they were that were on chain were like North Korea. So like that's useless against them, you know?
I mean, that's not going to stop anybody.
So maybe the new clarity will be like, we'll launch a nuclear weapon at the country of origin for the hack.
We'll go in the ocean and cut their internet lines.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to take a crack at this rhyme? You're from Atlanta. You got some hip hop roots, dude. You know how to rap, you know drill. Could you take a crack at this line?
Okay, let's see. UK rappers be like, she's sucking my willy. It's quite delightful. If I catch you in West Gloucestershire, you'll catch the rifle. I think.
That's pretty clean.
I don't know.
That's pretty clean, dude. I think you got a Skeptic collab coming up in your future, bro.
Yeah. If any Brit wants to tell me how to pronounce that word, Gloucestershire, Gloucester, I don't know.
Worcestershire sauce. And also tell us how to
Worcestershire
sauce, too. Is it the same?
Yeah, but those are bars. Those are bars right there.
That's a little something I picked up overseas, when I was flying across the Atlantic. The pond, as they say. Next up, Coinbase become the first crypto firm to join the SP 500. Wow, Drac, how do you feel about this, man?
That's a big one.
Dracula Industries didn't make the cut.
What's that?
Dracula Industries didn't make the cut.
No, not yet. We're knocking on the door. But yeah, I mean, obviously, huge news. Coin has like an interesting background for being a stock. A lot of people like holding Coin, talking about, how it's almost like, you hold a token and get rev share and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, obviously this is huge news. It's kind of happening earlier than I would have expected. People have been speculating on this forever. But yeah, I mean, it's big news for crypto. It's big news for everybody. So kind of like this combined with, what we were just seeing with the SEC and everything. I feel like the ground, the stage is getting set for like being like a good environment in the US for crypto.
It feels like the claws are digging in deeper. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to explain, I guess, to someone who hasn't been around. Not that I'm the oldest old head around or whatever, but even early on in my endeavors in crypto, like 2018, let's say, there was always this kind of feeling as like, is it going to go away? Like, is this just going to get regulated away at some point where it's like, even if it exists, is it just going to be like a fringe thing now?
Yeah.
This seems to me to be like further. I mean, there have been lots of things along the way, but this seems like close the deal for me, right? Like,
I think like, this is kind of like a good, Brian Armstrong, head of Coinbase. I feel like this is kind of like a good way, like a good perspective to look at it. He says, one, crypto is about to be in everyone's 401k. Two, he says, my goal is in 5 to 10 years to have the Coin 50 index feel like the same as the SP500. Because that's something Coinbase has, been like working on as well. So yeah, it's like it's setting the stage,
Mm-hmm.
You got to start somewhere.
No, yeah, I mean, and that is huge. It's about to be in everyone's 401k. I mean, yeah, if you're buying the S&P, you're buying coin now, which is massive, dude, massive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess if you're a coin holder, good on you, dude. Good on you. I'm not. I don't touch those disgusting equities. I stay digital. I stay on chain. Okay.
Yeah, it's it's like bro saying here. Have you even said thank you once?
Yeah. No, I mean, being in the Coinbase 50 being the equivalent, I don't know about that. I still don't know how I feel about Coinbase in particular. I don't trust any centralized exchange. I was a DeFi demon. I don't necessarily trust any of these centralized exchange cucks. I can't think of a more clever word, but also good on him for being a crypto guy.
Well, it's like you gotta off ramp somewhere, but
true. He's got Armstrong's my exit liquidity.
That's right, exit lick. I mean, it's like the boomers like to say, not your keys, not your coins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of there with you. I pretty much only like to interact for off ramping, but like I said, still, you got to start somewhere. We're still probably years away from some kind of like mainstream DeFi being like, being like what people actually use. We're still way far away from that. So.
This is the Rare Vance BB.
Rare Vance. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's big news. It's kind of surprising news.
Oh yeah, it feels like it kind of came out of nowhere. But you know what they say? First it happens slowly, then it happens all at once, and it feels like it's starting to happen all at once here. So I have something else here. So I just want to slid this across my desk. They had a problem with how you pronounced Gloucestershire.
Oh my lord!
So this is what they say in the UK. They say
No way.
Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire. Well, that's just rubbish, isn't it, mate? That's not how it's spelled, is it? It's spelled like this.
Gloucestershire.
Yep.
I can't even say it still.
Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire.
I thought they spoke English over there, dude. I
Go
don't know.
Go to Gloucestershire and catch the rifle.
That's a rifle. You can carry a rifle. You can have a rifle in England, surely. I think they make you carry an arquebus.
You can't carry a pistol, but you can carry a blunderbuss.
The blunderbuss, yeah. It has to be powder loaded with a stick.
Yeah, you can carry one of those, but you can't carry like a Glock or a SIG or something like that.
You can't carry a knife or a ninja sword, as they famously say.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to duel if you're going to rob somebody, which I think is fair.
Oh yeah, they call them roadmen, and by law they have to accept a duel.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. You lose the duel, you lose your wallet, and maybe your life, but probably not because the blunderbuss is more like just getting hit with like rock salt or something. So
yeah, but the one thing you won't be losing in England is your honor, and that's on baby. That's on Queen, I should say. King.
It's on the Queen. Another big
Oh.
headline. Looks like you had it ready to go on the stage there.
Oh yeah.
So, FeeM hit 1 million. If you scroll down there,
My God, and Louis called it, bro. Louise called it. He said, "Are we gonna hit there before the weekend?" And by God, we did. We hit it like Thursday or Friday.
yeah, big accomplishment. We've talked about it on the show before. How like a lot of people kind of poo-pooed FeeM at the start, saying, "Oh, what's a fraction of a penny gonna add up to?" and blah blah blah. But as you can see, 1 million S paid out. Look at Sacra here, almost hitting 200,000 S just for being on Sonic.
That's a pretty penny. And when did Sacra even launch, dude? Like,
I want to say it was not long after the network launched, but probably not like right away. I don't think.
so yeah, we're thinking like, oh wow, they've been in development since April 2022. Oh my God.
Well, they chose wisely because especially if you're a game, it's like if you're trying to be a game on chain, why would you not want to be on the chain that actually just pays you for TXs?
True. I was just going to point out, like, the amount of time it's taken to accrue this amount is kind of phenomenal. And if you were to think, like, I don't know, yeah, Sacra was on FTM, so they were here from the start. So even from when the network launched, though, I mean, think of how much that helps with. If you're a business person, let's get serious here, guys. Okay, let's talk business. If you're a businessman, okay, and you have expenses. If you don't understand business, Mendoza, don't worry, I'll explain. No, I'm kidding. He's talking about Sacra. No, but how much that cuts down on your overhead, it's incredible, right? Like your development costs, that's massive, dude. Well,
yeah. I mean,
Fiverr devs. If you're using Fiverr devs, it's free, but
yeah, I mean, but it's like you said, it's like imagine 200,000 S for any project. That's massive. I mean, Shadow running second, still over 137,000 S, which Shadow is like a good example of how they take their FeeM and they spread it into their pools for rewards. So it's like there's all kinds of stuff you can do. Infinity here, number 3. I don't know a ton about the project, so someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that they have worked FeeM into like a way to like also reward people that are using their program or their token or whatever. Something about mining. So I guess it's you mine or you stake or something, but they disperse that FeeM to their holders. So it's cool to see people get creative with it. And, like I said, it's like there's, all kinds of stuff you can do in terms of there's no rules on what you have to do with your S. So if you need to recoup costs, you can use it for that. If you just want to say, hey, I'm going to slam some pools with some extra incentives to get liquidity, you can do that. Or like, Infinity here, even just like actually basing it into like the mechanics of like how their stuff works, So yeah, I mean,
flexible, very flexible tool. I think it's awesome. I think it's paying off, and I think we're going to continue to see it pay off. And it could be the juice that we need to take over the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, we're still sitting there at like 12, I believe. Let's see if we've moved.
Yeah, but who's ahead of us is a bunch of no-name nobodies that don't matter to no one, no way, no how. I have all the love in my heart. I wish them all the best of luck.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Oh wait, I'm looking at protocol. So go over to chains here. Yep, still sitting there at 12, comfy, but we're sneaking up on Aptos. Soon after that will be Barra. Then we'll crack the top 10.
So we've got, I don't want to say anything that's going to get us in trouble. I'm not going to say anything that's going to get us in trouble. I'm going to play PC here, and I'm going to say, may the best chain win, okay? And we all know who that is.
That best chain is Sonic.
Dude, look at the number of protocols on Sonic's. Was it 120?
Yeah, 120.
Is that both Parachain and Aptos combined?
Yeah, when you think of it that way, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Where are the things happening? That's what I want to know. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're still at 12, but we're solid. We're solid over $1 billion. Still a huge accomplishment. If you recall when Phantom, when we were winding down Phantom and we first were, Sonic was first launching, I want to say we were down at 40 something. So we've climbed all the way to 12. We're going to keep climbing. We're going to pass Aptos, no problem. We're going to pass Barra. We're going to pass Avalanche. Then it's time to start fighting for those 2 billion spots. But we'll get there.
I don't know anything about Aptos. Okay. Is it a VC chain? How old is Aptos?
It came out, I think, like in the bear market. It has had a lot of criticism for when it launched. It had a bunch of VC unlocks, and it gets criticism for, a lot of its TVL, I believe, is kind of like, you have those situations where it's just like VCs parking large amounts of their money on the chain to help the metrics and everything. So I do, that's not to throw any shade on it. I've used it. It's really fast. It's fine, whatever. But that is a criticism with some of these VC chains, that it's like, well, who actually uses it? Does anybody actually do anything with it? You know what I mean?
It's the VC. The VC uses it. The VC uses it to take my money. That's what they plan on doing with it, dude. Okay. I see right through it. All right. Parachain, they're in the painful point of post. I shouldn't lie. It's fucked up. I wish for the best for them. But there is like this pattern that occurs. It's like the bubble bursting pattern that occurs, but it only happens. It happens. It's just bizarre because a bubble that bursts the second it's born. You know what I mean? Like the second it hits the market, the bubble just bursts. That's where we're at with Parachain. So I don't know how much value is going to accrue there. I'm sure there's things going on there, but it's just, that's gotta hurt, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I know Barra also had a good bit of VC backing. I think they tried to structure it in like a unique way to minimize the impact, but I think we're not really seeing that. Look here, 50% of the TVL has left in a month because same deal, you had guys putting all their Bitcoin or whatever that are whales, that are vested in the chain, kind of inflating the metrics. They also had people, they did a program where you kind of like lock your liquidity before the chain went live. That was kind of a big blow because when the unlocks started, people were very upset about what they ended up earning in terms of APR. Because, when Barra launched, the token, I think, was in the teens in terms of price. Now it's down to like $2 or $3. So there were people that said, I had 6 figures sitting here locked up for like 3 months and I made like, $60-$70, which is crazy,
Ooh, that's losing money. If you guys know anything about the time value of money, that's losing money. Now,
yeah, that's rough. So they're having a rough time. I think they also shipped a little early without all of the proof of liquidity mechanics ready, which I think may have also hurt them. I think that's been released now, but I think ultimately they'll be okay. I think that they got a strong community, they got people building on there, but
they've got a harem of Barra baddies that they have procured a beautiful mansion and luxury vehicles for. I'm sure they will be fine. They're living like Saudi kings on the Barra chain. Okay.
Well, now we got the Sonic sweethearts, so
Sonic sweeties are having to slum it out here on Sonic chain. Oh, look how they're treating their Barra baddies versus how we're treating our Sonic sweeties, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna have to up the grant, I think.
Yeah, guys, can we get a check in with the Sonic sweeties? How are they doing? Where are they living? Not in a creepy way. I just want to make sure they're doing okay. Do we need to get them an infinity pool? Perhaps some Hermes bags. Maybe
we're just basing this off like keeping up with the Jones, right? We're just basing this off what we've seen. Okay.
I'm just saying if Barra's at 10 and we're at 12 and their baddies are in a mansion playing pool and drinking Chardonnay. What are the Sonic Sweeties and what are they doing? Yeah, can we get a wellness check? Thank you, BB. Yes. Any Sonic Sweetie, please report in. Let us know how you're doing. Do you need any money, sweetheart? Anyway. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so TVL, we're still doing good. We're right where we need to be. Another big, it was kind of like a big closeout kind of big piece of news was Sonic announced in Vienna that they had locked in a deal with Galaxy HQ.
For this.
Yeah, so an investment in the U.S. market position and provides critical support for our DeFi ecosystem.
This was like so they had a panel on the summit. This is one of the intros that I feel like I flubbed because I knew what Galaxy was, but I was like, yeah, they do like financial stuff. I literally introduced them. I was like they were probably closing this deal, and I'm just like, yeah, there's some guy from does money shit.
Well, I think that they did have a blog, and yeah, I mean, basically, Galaxy is a leader and invests in like assets and data center infrastructure. They're interested in accelerating progress in finance and AI. So that's why they're saying that this could be good for like the Sonic Eco as well, because they will be, you know, probably investing in infrastructure and possibly some of the protocols, or, you know, maybe helping with new protocols that will bring more attention to the chain. And they're a US company, which, you know, also makes things interesting, because I think that obviously, like everything we've been talking about earlier in the show, it feels like they're working to make progress so that the US can be like a hub for crypto and finance and that kind of digital finance, or whatever you want to call some of these other aspects. So I think that's like a really big show of confidence that that's Galaxy saying like, hey, like we're planting our flag, we're backing Sonic. We think these are leaders in the space for like what we're trying to accomplish. And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty big announcement. You know, Galaxy is huge. So to have that support is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I think the key thing with all these kinds of deals too to remember is, all right, the thing with VCs, right? I don't like them personally. Generally, I don't like this. I don't like them usually, but that's because how a lot of people engage with them in crypto. They do not engage with them from a position of strength. They engage with them from a position of desperation. Most projects you talk to, most chains you talk to, they're willing to sell everything to the VC for the money, right? I don't think Sonic is working from this position because, as we know, Sonic is not super hard up for cash, but there are other reasons to engage with a VC, right? Lots of other reasons in terms of connections, from anything from legal to regulators to developers to business partners, all sorts of things, right? They could put you in contact with. So I'm fairly bullish on this. Usually VC investment is not super bullish because usually a lot of times what it means is we can't make money. We're struggling to make money. We're struggling to grow the business. Someone please save us. There. So I think this is pretty bullish, especially when you consider the rest of their portfolio, Galaxy's portfolio.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, they're about to list on the NASDAQ. And yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it on the head. It's more, you know, this is more probably like could be viewed as like a strategic partnership, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of how it's, you know, because it's not like, oh, like we're, you know, we needed to have a seed round or something like that. So
we got to cover salaries for the next month.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's not like, oh, they're funding development or, you know, it's like all this stuff's already done. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think it'll open a lot of doors. Like I said, I think it shows some confidence that, you know, this is somebody saying Sonic is the pony I would want to back. And, you know, Sonic hopefully also, you know, expanding some into the US, you know, maybe like some kind of working out some infrastructure deals of their own down the road.
Perhaps a Sonic City, mayhaps.
A Sonic City.
A Sonic City somewhere situated in the Smoky Mountains. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I like that. I'd move there.
That'd be fucking awesome, dude. Imagine how many schnapps we could have.
Yeah. So many Jaegers.
So many Jaegers. I was gonna say Sonic is like Seabiscuit, but I wasn't sure if Seabiscuit was a good winning horse or like that
Or
movie was
just a movie.
Yeah, just a movie about a sad horse or something.
Yeah, I think it was a good horse. So we'll say Seabiscuit.
Yes, it's our Seabiscuit.
Well, I think that's about all we. Oh, it says could be our own. I can't even say it again.
Could be our own Welsh.
Gloucestershire. Yeah.
Gloucestershire. That's how they say it.
Gloucestershire.
You know the name of the river that runs through London?
Don't know the name of that one. The Thames or something like that?
The Thames, right?
Yeah.
That's how we say it because we speak proper English. We speak the president's English as we say.
Yeah, not the Queen's English, the president's English.
No, look, Benny's spelling it like we're supposed to. They call it like the Tims, dude. Like Tim. They call it the Tims, like what New Yorkers wear on their feet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It's not the Thames River. Those are shoes in New York.
Yeah. Don't take this as FUD, but if price don't go nowhere, it doesn't matter if you have a partnership with Tesla. That's right, Erkan. And I wouldn't take a partnership with Tesla if you gave it to me for free either way, because I don't get on sinking ships, okay?
We're on the winning team here. We pick winners.
And I mean, yeah, price must go up for investors to be happy, but it's a much more complicated game. We have all kinds of assets. I've said this before. I don't need Phantom Sonic token sub-second finality to go to $10,000. Okay, I need it to go to a decent price, a decent market price that we can stabilize around, and then I need my app token prices to do numbers. That's what I want. Okay, but anyway, I think we still got room to grow, and I would be surprised if we do not see price continue to grow.
Yeah, I mean, we're still insanely early. I mean, we're still just months in, so we got a long way to go. They've said before that, they figure Sonic is, at least here for, I think it was 10 years or something. So we got lots of room. We're still super early, and look at everything that's been accomplished this early. So we got lots of good stuff to look forward to.
For sure. Plenty of room to grow, and we're going to do it.
Absolutely. So
it goes invisible sometimes.
Yeah. So I think that's all we got today. You got anything else, Corval?
No, that's all I've got. Stay safe out there. Stay safe. Take care of yourself. Eat your vegetables, kids. Drink your water, Yeah,
he's still recovering from Vienna. And actually, I'm still recovering from Vegas, too. We were lamenting at how we're both sick. So,
it wasn't just the alcohol. There's a bug going around. All right.
That's right.
Gang.
A bug of gains that we're going to have by the end of this week. So stick around. We will catch you guys Friday.
GMSONIC is Corval and Dracula Presley. GM.